Uh, Good day, my friend. Again, we gathered together with the camera, which needs to come a little bit closer to me. There we go. Sorry about the shakiness there. I'm trying to get the best quality we can, even though the lighting is often not very good. When you're not in a studio, being outside has its benefits, but not quite always the best for picture quality. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. The important thing is that we keep on keeping on with the Word. And every day, keep in mind that after we're done overviewing the Bible, we're going to jump into just one specific book next year. But since we're still in March, let's not, look too far ahead, except, to maybe capture the vision of what is to come. Which is a big thing with Joshua, because he's sort of like the sequel to the promise that God gave to Abraham. Which is very important when you read the book of Joshua to realize that everything going on here is a fulfillment to all of the promises that God gave to Abraham. That he would have all of this land, that he would have a great people far beyond the stars and the heavens and the sand and the seashore. And we see that. And remember that Moses was a great leader. One of the best world leaders ever, really. And Joshua's coming after him. The name Joshua is actually the same name in a different language as Jesus. So you could have called Jesus Joshua, and vice versa. So that's interesting. So when you think about, Jesus has his own book in the Old Testament. It's not about him, it's about the guy that, is leading the people of Israel into victory, into the land. But there's a lot of comparison with other books like Ephesians and Revelation, as far as Jesus in the book of Revelation coming in and possessing the land of the whole world, redeeming the whole world. So that's pretty intense. And of course we read about the flood and the flood waters, because it's springtime. The people of Israel go ahead and celebrate the Passover in chapter 5, so it's springtime. And Joshua has to circumcise everybody, which of course, okay, won't talk too much about circumcision, but that's again, fulfillment. Abraham, Abraham was told to circumcise, so we're going to take care of that. We're kind of like coming back to the law, doing what we're supposed to be doing here. With what God has told us to do. Remember the flood waters of the Jordan River. The people of Israel hadn't seen the river. They had no idea what they were about to undertake, but God was there. God was there in their journey. And we're going to learn a lot about that. He tells us not to wander to the left or to the right, but stay on the narrow road. And sometimes it means stepping into the waters and waiting, being patient. It could have taken up to 2 hours for 13 miles worth of water to flow through before they were able to all cross. It may have taken a bit of time. We don't think about it, but God's all about taking time and patience. If you learn anything from small children, it's that they like to take their time. They're not as much of a rush as adults are. There's a lot of lessons there when you have kids. But moving on, chapter 5, talking about God fighting our battles. There's a lot more I'm learning from Joshua from the sermon series I'm listening to right now on Joshua. So I'm getting a lot of information, and it's almost too much. It's like, Holy Spirit, what are you telling me today? And that's what we should do. We should always do, Lord, what do you want me to learn from this passage right now? Because it's going to be different from what you learn. It's going to be different from what we learn next year or the year after that. And it's always going to be something new and fresh and relevant to our situation. Jericho. Well, not Jericho yet. At the end of chapter 5, we have the Lord, Jesus, the commander of the army of the Lord, appears to Joshua. Of course, Joshua falls on his face, and, angels can't be worshipped, so we know it's not an angel. He says, take off your sandals, just like Moses was told to take off his sandals before the burning bush. So we know this is an Old Testament appearance again, a theophany. I'm never going to be able to say that word. Old Testament appearance of Jesus. At any rate, teaching us, that it's not Jericho was conquered by Jesus, by the Lord himself. And he's going to fight every one of these battles. Because he's the one that has victory. We have to get up and do. Yes, we have to get up and do. But he tells Joshua what he's supposed to do with Jericho. And of course, like, really? You want me to go back and tell the generals of my army to walk around the city 13 times and the walls are going to fall down? I don't know about that. I don't know if that's going to work, Lord. And it's like, trust me. God goes out of his way. Every story is different. It's like every individual story is different, just like with us. His ways are not going to be the same with you as they are with your neighbor or the other people that you meet. His ways are different with each and every one of us because he's a God who made unique creatures. Now, he does design things with order and pattern and set, because he's not a God of chaos. He does create with order. And he also creates with creativity and makes us creative and individuals. And remembering that it's not as important what the plan is. He isn't as much as it is as God himself, his position over his plan. He's going to tell you to do stuff. You don't have to sit there and ask questions like, what am I really going to march around the city quietly, blowing trumpets? I mean, that's not sure. But we're supposed to march, not take any spoil, and blow the trumpets. And of course, Rahab gets saved out of that by God's grace. Chapter 6 is all about the fall of Jericho, as you hear about a lot. It's one of the largest cities in the land, so it's kind of like a big deal that they're going in to conquer it. And God, of course, is making a way. The two witnesses that went in there and got Rahab out. Rahab's important because she's the mother of Boaz, and that comes up in the story of Ruth. And Boaz is the father of Obed, and Obed is the father of Jesse, and Jesse's the father of King David. So Rahab's very important. The fact that she's a Gentile, too, in the line of King David and the line of Jesus Christ is fascinating. Just making a way for us into his kingdom. Now, chapter 7 is Achan's sin. Achan. He just, there was a lot of stuff that looked really nice, and he thought, there's not going to be any problem if I just take some of this loot, and bury it underneath my tent. And sin is, is very easy to do, because we're natural. It's natural. We're sinners by birth. Sinners by birth, sinful nature. It's a blood curse upon us from the Adam and Eve. So it's very natural. So sometimes it's like, go with your second instincts, not your first. But he just goes ahead and takes some of the stuff, and God gets angry at that. It's a righteous anger. And there's a problem in the camp. Joshua gets on his face, like, Lord, because they try to go in and take Ai next, and they are defeated. So Joshua's like on his face, Lord, what happened? Why did we get defeated? Well, what does the Lord say? Rise up. Why are you on your face? The problem is in your camp. It's not the military strength. You have that. You have the military strength. You just aren't listening to me or obeying my commands. One command. Don't take any loot. Burn it all. Because this is pagan territory. This is idol-worshipping territory. This is burn your children in the fire kind of territory. Okay? These were just common, people. You go into these lands, and this is like sin magnified as much as you can imagine. So yeah, destroy it. And God kind of gave him a little bit of mercy. He gave Achan a chance. He's going to separate him from family to tribe down to his family, and finally pinpoints him. It's like he gave him a chance, but God means what he says and says what he means. So that's sort of the end of there. God's fierce anger towards sin. The term arise and take take matters, take control. It comes up at the beginning of Joshua where it says, Moses, my servant, is dead. Rise up now. It's sort of like, arise and take a stand, do something, get up and move. Your past is in your past. Let it go. And I don't mean to quote the song Let It Go from Frozen again, but it works right there, because Moses is the past. We want to follow everything that the Lord told Moses, but do not get stuck in the past. Move forward. Move ahead. Let your past shape you, but move from there into the vision that God has given you. Because Because not every vision is going to be fulfilled in our sight, in our line of vision, and what we can see and everything. So, to end this video, I'm going to blow this trumpet, this shofar, this horn that was brought home from the promised land to me, from Israel. So, as a gift. So to end the video, I'm going to blow it. I'm going to blow it. That sounds good. Mess up. I'm going to make a mistake now. And the walls of Jericho are going to fall down in your life, right? Whatever walls, whatever the enemy is built up around you today that's causing struggle, that's causing a problem in your life. The Lord wants to take victory over it. Just like the commander of the Lord comes to you and says, take off your shoes, you're on holy ground. I'm going to do something in your life that you may not understand. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to have me explain it. You just have to trust me that I am faithful and I will do what I say I'm going to do. That's God's message in every piece of the Bible. Sure, there's a better way to do that. Till next time.